We previously looked at a couple of correlated variables, income and savings, and we noted that it kind of makes sense that as income increases, that savings ought to also increase. And we looked at the correlation coefficient using this simple linear regression. Now let's look at the actual equation. So we'll do the same thing. We'll go to this regression function, and in the x variable we'll put income because we expect income to have an effect on savings. So our y variable will be savings. And then we'll click compute. And we see here that we actually have an equation. Savings is minus 4715.32 plus 0.11838 times income. And we can look at this line, and we can see here then is that equation. And again, when we hover over, we see that equation. Now, what is this good for? Well, the intent of this equation then is to give us a means for predicting values of one of the variables given values of the other variable. For instance, looking at the scatter plot, we have a jump between 95,000 and 115,000 in the x coordinates here. And if I was an economist and I was trying to predict what the savings level ought to be for someone who earns, let's say, $100,000, we don't have a data value for an x coordinate of $100,000. So we can use this equation. Y equals minus 4715 plus 0.118x. One thing that is important to note is that this model is only as good as the data that we're working with. So we have to think of certain restrictions that this data puts on us. For one thing, we only have data values that range from an x value of 38,000 to an x value of 120,000. If another dot was added somewhere else out to the right or to the left, then the line would change. And so predictions would only be good then between those two x values, the minimum x value and the maximum x value. In order to get StatCrunch to make this prediction, we'll go through it again. We'll click Stat, Regression, Simple Linear, Income for X, Savings for Y, and then I'm going to go to this area here that says Prediction of Y. And I'm going to type in the X value that I want a Y prediction for. So we talked about getting a prediction for an income level of 100,000, and we'll now click compute. And here we have a predicted Y value, 7123. And if we were to look at the scatter plot and go to the line right around 100,000, we can see that the y coordinate on that line would be that 7123 value that came back.